Our car looked like the guy that was bleeding out at the end of Saving Private Ryan.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's broadcast of the Jeff Heilman Project. If you are first-time listeners, welcome. We're so glad to have you listening to our podcast.
If you're a first-time listener, where you been?
I know. We're having so much fun, and I'm actually really excited about today's topic of conversation. If you've clicked on it, you know why I'm so excited. But, Jeff, before we get started, we always like to introduce the topics, introduce our podcast by first off saying, since the last podcast,
how was the week?
How has your week been? Have you done anything?
Well, first of all, I've been reading a really good book called Your Key to Happiness by Harold Sherman. From a health perspective, I've been sleeping better.
Good.
We've been focused on sleep. Sleep is good. Man, it's amazing when you actually double down and really just try to get the rest that you need. Everything in my life is better. Order and structure my plans are coming together. I found out that I have a methodology of thinking that is not unique but very rare, and it can cause some challenges with regard to just feeling overwhelmed because you don't want to make a mistake and pick the wrong thing, but you see the big picture, the big landscape. So I might talk about more in a future podcast. And then from a family perspective, we had Jeffrey in town, which is great, and Joseph asking for more money from Norway.
Hey.
So he's going to be coming home soon. You have got the trailer getting ready for Joseph to move back into. All things are well. All things are great on the Western Front.
Today is Tuesday, and I believe it was Sunday night. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. We're actually going to have fun. This is going to be a two-part podcast. We're going to record half of it on this episode, and then the next half we're going to wrap it up on the next episode. But Jeff and I went to go see Shocker. Mission Impossible Final Reckoning.
I think we've seen all of them in the theater.
Here's some little facts. Okay, there are
facts?
8. I
Look
do.
At this. Okay.
Because what the fun thing about today's podcast we're going to do is there were 8 Mission Impossible movies.
Wow. Going back to when we got married,
Going back to 1996. And since there's this really fun parallel between us and Ethan Hunt's first escapade on the big screen, I thought that we would go through and talk about, I've got all of the years of release of them. So we're going to go through the first 4, and we're going to pick the release date, and we're going to talk about where we were, how many kids we had, whatever, and then the next 4 in the next episode.
Okay.
It has grossed to date $4.3 billion, the 8 films, at a production cost of $1.5 billion.
That's pretty good.
And that's the new one just came out. So the new one the budget was between 300 to 400 million. And as of June 3rd, its release date was May 5th. June 3rd, it had brought in $356 million.
Wow, in 1 month.
In 1 month.
So it just about paid for the budget.
Yeah, in a month. Another fun fact is that at the time of Final Reckoning being filmed, Tom Cruise was turning 63, and Jon Voight in the first film was 58. So think back to the first film.
Wow.
Health has
Is Jon Voight still around?
Yes, he's still around, but the health has definitely
We've learned some things about health.
Improved, I would say, in the last 30 years.
Well, Tom Cruise is better looking at 63 than most people will ever be. But to see him at 63, like running and all ripped.
And the whole entire so before we talk about
basically the whole film of him running.
Let's talk about, before we go into like the timeline, let's talk about the movie. Jeff and I were both like in each other's laps at closing our eyes at certain parts because it was so
the edge of our seats
freaking
the entire time.
Stressful.
It was like, I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, what kind of audiences handle these days? This is reprehensible.
I mean, you leaned over a couple of times and said, why are we paying to go through
Yes, my cortisol levels are off the charts again
And we're
for the second
paying.
time
We're
in the last
paying
30
for
minutes.
this. Um, the scenes, I mean,
Wow.
and Andrew can attest to this. The fact that Tom likes to do all of his own stunts. I read,
Because he's an idiot.
like, for example, we were reading about the airplane scene and the fact that there was no computer. The only computer alterations were to delete the security, like the ropes,
Cabling,
the cabling that like kept him on the plane, but he
Yeah.
still had to walk on the plane.
But they said that he was so tired after he did the biplane scene, and I won't go into it too much, but there's a biplane scene, and he was so tired they had to carry him off the wing. It was poop.
So yeah, it
awful.
was. I mean, I love film. My cousin is, we have family that
Yellowstone,
have worked
right?
on. Well, before that he did The Abyss, he did the Titanic, and so, but his main foray into it was special effects and like practical effects, and so I have a real heart for cinematography that involves
Family.
practical effects and minimal
Jim
amount
Beihold
of computer
and Zahara were next door neighbors of ours in Dallas.
generation. And so to be I think my jaw was like, like most of the time. The storyline, couldn't tell you. Blow up the world, nuclear
Somebody's gonna
bombs,
die.
somebody's dying, save the universe or whatever.
The submarine.
Oh my.
Wow. Oh,
I know.
I mean,
The water, the ice.
the nukes.
It was
entity.
incredible. So I would highly recommend a fun summer film for everybody to go add to the $1 million bottom line of Final Reckoning.
Tom. Tom is not good. There were no checks.
No.
There were no checks written from
But
Tom.
I did love
to
what
tell
he
you about
had
the
to
movie, but
say
it's really good.
to the
Luther?
Instagram account at the School of Hard Knocks when he got interviewed.
Oh.
I loved what he had to say about Tom's whole MO is it's my calling to produce films that will make the studios money so that the studios can go and keep making money. So my whole goal to make a good film is so that the studios will be profitable so that they can continue to make more films.
Keep doing it. Yeah.
And so I thought that was really that's such a posture of like, my goal is to be excellent and I want it to be excellent because I know when I'm excellent, then who I'm working for is able to take that money from what they've made from me and go do more of what they were doing. So I thought that was really cool. So if you guys want to go check out School of Hard Knocks on Instagram, check them out and go see. He just recently did Will Smith and he did Tom Cruise, and it was fabulous, both of them. So, so the first one that we're going to talk about on this episode,
I don't remember any
is
of them,
just called Mission Impossible 1. That didn't have a name yet.
What was the year?
1996. So where were we? What were we doing when Ethan was making his first big screen onboarding?
We would have been probably, they pretty much released them in the springtime.
Summer blockbuster stuff.
So it would have been right around us getting married. And I don't remember if we saw it in the theater or what theater we would have seen it in if we were in Portland. But we would have been living in Portland. So we probably would have gone south to Wilsonville.
We wouldn't have been pregnant yet.
You would not have had a baby. No. So we're still just kids just getting married. There was, if you went south to Wilsonville, Cinemark.
I'm thinking that we probably were here. We probably went to Century to go see it because we lived with Grandma and Grandpa for a couple months because you were going to try to get work with Christopher. And we were here for like 2 months. It was before I was not pregnant yet. And it was like right when we first got married after you got laid off from ECR sales. And then I think we came down.
Right, I got fired, but I didn't get fired from ECR sales until July. And the movie came out. Do we know the release date?
None of it. Well, Andrew has a phone. Andrew can check his phone.
That'll be interesting.
But I'm pretty sure that we probably saw it at the Century Theaters.
Okay.
In Santa Clara.
I remember that was awesome on the bridge in Prague, and it gave me a lifelong love affair with wanting to go see Prague. Literally, absolutely astonishing cinematography.
It was
work.
released on May 22nd.
May 22nd. Okay, so
And we hadn't been married
we
yet.
weren't married.
Let's see, we met in March to April, April to May, May to June, June to July. I don't necessarily remember seeing it up in, but I'm sure we saw it in the theater.
I think I remember.
Okay, so there we go. So time chronologically speaking, May of 1996, we would have been planning a wedding. We were knee-deep in planning a wedding.
Yep.
I was making trips. You know what, though? We did get into the car and we would drive down because I made trips down here because I had to get fitted for my dress because Grandma handmade my dress.
Yep.
And we went to, I remember going to Joann Fabrics and picking the bolt of fabric. I wanted to wear Grandma's original wedding dress from 1956. And y'all, I could not fit in. At 19 years old, I could not I could not squeeze into my grandma's wedding dress that she had made for herself when she was 19. Actually, I think she got married at 18. And I couldn't fit into it. I was too big. My like rib cage and my waist was too big at the time.
Tiny, but.
And so because I couldn't fit into it, but lo and behold, Grandma, the saver of everything, had saved her pattern that she used to make her dress. And somehow, lo and behold, she was able to go from a bolt of fabric to my wedding dress within 90 days and me living in Oregon and it all came together. I had it made out of cotton and it was like a brocade cotton. So it had like a raised print on it, but it was just it looked almost like a summer dress. I didn't want it to be very, too much. Well, I wanted it to be her pattern, but I didn't think I'm going to make it out of lace or sequins or whatever. Yeah. Like I wanted it to be something affordable for the bolt of fabric. I think it was $120 for the yardage that we needed. Wow. And then the zipper and the trim. And so we were knee deep and I didn't have a job. I wasn't going to school and I had no work. So that's all I did for 90 days was plan our wedding. So if I had a minute to get away and go see Mission Impossible, which I'm sure we did, that's where we were in 1996. Right. And you were moving from your parents' house.
I had moved. I moved on March 20th.
You didn't have to go back and get anything. I think you tried to bring your papasan.
I didn't have anything. I threw my papasan chair in my car and drove up, and then I got that apartment on South Shore. Mm-hmm. I threw the papasan chair in the CD collection in South Shore, and then you and your mom went down and bought a
couch
at Goodwill for $50 maybe.
No, $17. I remember it was $17.
$17 for my first sofa, and then put slip covers, which I didn't know. Like I'm a dude.
I sewed the slip cover.
You did? I didn't know that.
I sewed it. Yes, wow. I did. That was the first major project that I had done.
Wow.
I sewed it.
I didn't even know what a slipcover was.
Because I had been watching Trading Spaces because this is the time era with
that's right.
Paige Davis
and
Ty Pennington. And it was all about that was back when HGTV was actual DIY shows and they would show you. And then they started to get into reality TV with Trading Spaces from the British changing rooms to trading spaces. I'm such a nerd. I'm such a nerd, you guys.
We're changing rooms. We got 30 years of that HGTV stuff. I know.
Now. Design on a dime. Oh my God.
Design on a dime.
So I sewed that, and then I remember we had a card table with folding chairs, and I changed the fabric on the seat and spray painted pastel purple. Lavender, pastel blue, pastel pink. Each of the chair was a different pastel.
I remember you had spray paints. Oh, remember the candlesticks?
Yes.
You had long iron candlesticks.
I had one for ever, but I don't even know what happened to it. It's probably in the basement right now.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have gotten rid of it.
I was because and it was all.
It was not straight. It was the Leaning Tower of Candle after a while.
20 years of marriage. But yeah, so that was really fun. Okay, so
that was 96.
Second film that came out, Mission Impossible 2, which I have zero memory of. I did see that this is the one that had Tandy Newton in it.
Oh, with Chimera.
Yeah. And so that was 2000.
All right.
So that was 4 years later. I know who was born in 2000.
We had a couple of kids by then.
Jeffrey was born.
Yeah.
Joseph, I
Joseph
would
was
have
on-
been in delivery.
Joseph would have been June 10th. So we got June 10th coming up. He's almost 25.
Yeah. Happy early birthday, Joe. We were living in Dallas, Texas. Yeah.
We'd just moved.
We had just moved
Yep.
to Dallas, Texas, because
Yep.
that's where he was born. I
Yep.
remember that. I know that much. You had gotten a job.
I was working for onejobs.com, which was my first
Mhm.
funded startup. And
In recruiting. Was this when you
it
were
was
doing
recruiting.
recruiting?
It was a competitor of Monster and Brass Ring.
Well, look at that. You go from 96 for the first Mission Impossible movie,
Yeah.
working, well, unemployed, and then getting into cleaning apartments and being in your own business cleaning apartments to
Yeah.
by the year 2004 years
Yep. I was
working
at
in
a store-
tech
Working in tech. In
at
a building
at
with-
your first
with
startup.
air conditioning. I was like, they have air conditioning in this building? This is
I
so
remember
nice.
in awe that that you had a salary. That was like your first time that you
Yeah.
got a salary. Did you see what year or what date that released in 2000, Andrew?
May 24th.
Oh, another.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
May 22.
The date.
May 24.
Little spoiler alert, I guess. It's not that much, but the paper she wrote May 22nd, 1996 in the new movie, the recent movie.
Oh,
That's the release date of the first movie.
that was the release date of the first movie.
I
Interesting.
could have remembered that and didn't make Andrew do that, but yeah.
Interesting.
So,
Nice little callback
Little
there.
call back there. But okay, so May of 2000, Joseph was born in June.
Yep.
So I was
Big pregnant.
bursting. We were living at your mom's.
Yeah, not one of my finer moments. It's the second time.
Jeff and Jessica
I
from the
moved.
Jeff Heilman Project were
Second-
living with the
Second
in-laws.
time, third time I'd moved back in with my parents after leaving.
But it was a hopeful time because this, like we said, this is the first
They were
time.
helping us out, and we were. Oh wait, yeah. Oh, I moved back in with my dad once. Then I moved back in with. Then I moved with them with your parents. Then we moved back in with my parents when we were having Joe, but only for a couple months. It wasn't.
Yeah, we were relocating because we had moved from Portland, Oregon to 3,000 miles away to
Yeah.
Dallas, Texas,
1,500.
and we needed a place to land, and they were kind enough
Yep.
to let us land there for a couple months as you found your job,
Gosh, you remember Virginia?
place to
and
live.
Leon.
Leon.
Oh.
They were really sweet.
They gave us $1,100. Leon and Virginia Gaddis.
They were amazing people.
They
helped
allowed
out
us
a
to stay
couple.
with them. They gave us
did-
$1,100.
How did we did we just meet them through the church?
I met her through onejobs.com. She was a customer, I think. And I just called them up. I was like, hey, we're going to be in you were a customer of mine. Would love to
Was
visit
that
with
when
you.
we were moving back to California? That must have been on our way
Yeah.
back to California.
That was later that year. Yeah.
and then
after
we
I got
stopped
fired.
in.
Actually, it was the next year because
Yeah.
I had gotten fired from 2 jobs, actually. Onejobs.com and then Princeton Information Systems.
What car were we driving? Because we didn't have the
we
red
would have had the
Volvo yet.
Volvo, the blue Volvo that we bought from that guy
The one
that was
that
flipping
exploded?
cars. It didn't explode until after. Yeah, that exploded later.
The lore goes deep.
Yeah,
Okay, so I'd like to take a minute here
some
since
cars
we're
don't
going to talk
work
for 4 years, for only 4 years on this one episode. We got plenty of time. Okay, we got to do some choice moments of
man,
that year in
there's
Dallas.
so much history.
We were having so much spiritual and supernatural
well, we didn't
growth.
have a car. First of all,
We were so
the
happy.
Audi was destroyed.
We only had 2 kids. We had a really nice apartment. It was on the 2nd floor.
Yep.
Was that when you fell down the stairs?
I fell down the
And
stairs
you
a couple
caught-
times, but that was no. Jeffrey was in Portland.
Okay. But we were tired parents, and I remember that was I was really struggling with the concept when I was pregnant with Joseph of how am I ever going to love something as much as I love my first. Like when you have that first baby,
Yeah.
it is like your heart just like is the Grinch, at the end when he swells, the heart swells, and you're just like, oh, it's like it pains you how much you love this child that you have. And so I remember being pregnant with Joe, and I literally would be up at night thinking, how am I ever going to love any? Like, how does this even work? How do you love something as much? Like, I felt like I was going to be robbing Jeffrey of something because now I have to share with my second son. But I remember when he was born and my heart grew even bigger, and I was like, oh, this is how it works. It's amazing. It's like, wow, I not only have enough love for one, I've got more love now. And just having that experience of having two kids. Do you remember going from one to one for you and one for me? Like now we have two.
Yeah.
And little toddler, and then a newborn baby, and we had this car that just had a lot of work done on it.
It was actually a pretty good car for $1,000. I mean,
And
it ran.
what
cars for
happened?
$2,000
We
don't run.
put too much oil in it. It was
No, it was its time.
it was we went to this new church, and it was really fancy, and it was really nice,
That
and
was
we
in
were
San
looking
Diego.
for the
Oh,
visitor
yeah.
parking.
Looking for the visitor
And
parking,
it's
and then
right
we
up
dropped
front because
like 4 quarts of oil. Right, it was like we took a dump right in front of where everybody.
the
has to
visitor
walk.
parking, they want to like greet you and like have you have this awesome experience. And this church was a new building. It was probably $30 million bill.
Yeah, it's this beautiful $30 million church in San Diego in this really rich area, and we're driving, and my car just explodes and drops. It looked like we were. It looked like,
I mean, when
it
you're
looked like we
walking
were the
up
guy-
to your car and
Yeah.
it's a crime scene because the oil is like oozing out like blood had
we had
just.
4 quarts of oil dropped in the space between where the parking spots end and where you would walk.
But I think it was an evening
We
service
looked
because
like
everybody.
our car looked like the guy that was bleeding out at the end of Saving Private Ryan. Give him some morphine. He's dead. It's over.
But it was, oh my God. Somehow, I think we actually had more oil in the trunk. And we
did.
You
We
like
had more
pumped it in, and
Yeah.
then we took off.
And
so
we took
nobody,
off, and then somebody's like, okay, go to Costco and get some kitty litter because this guy's car just took a dump. It was so bad.
The best part was this car had no speakers in the back. It just had holes.
Yeah,
And
there was no sound
and
system. in
Jeffrey,
this
the oldest at the time, goes, Bob. And I'm like, what? Like, we're trying to get away, son. Like, what? He goes, there's smoke coming into the car. Because the burn off from the
Yeah,
oil
the
was
smoke-
smoking blue smoke, and it was
smoke
coming
was
in through the speaker
coming in.
holes.
We had to roll the windows down to keep from asphyxiating.
Oh my God. Okay.
That
But we're getting ahead of ourselves because that was in San Diego.
was awesome.
Oh my gosh.
That would have been
but back-
2001.
But we bought the car originally in 2000. And then we had big hopes. We were going to move to spend time near your family, but your family's not that close, so we never got to see them anyway. And after 90 days in a row of over 100 and getting hives
Yes.
and
Yeah,
getting laid off.
I remember I
and-
had some kind of skin,
oh
like
my God,
heat exhaustion bumps.
prickly heat or whatever.
I
and
stepped
then
on an anthill.
I remember
That was not good.
I went to visit San Diego, which was where my stepdad lived, and I went and with the kids, I think, and I think they probably paid for me to go out there because we didn't have any money. And I remember being there and like having to fly back and going, I don't know if I can. I don't want to
Yeah,
go
I
back to
don't wanna go back to
Texas. I don't
Texas.
want to go. I love you guys. Love you,
yeah,
Texans. But
if you're from Texas and you don't know any better,
oh my
stay
God.
there.
Yeah,
Like,
stay.
just don't go to San Diego.
Just don't go to San Diego. And so we
and
went
you'll
back.
be fine.
And I think it was only literally a couple of weeks later that you got let go.
Yeah,
And
I'm
I
like,
remember I think I was at, I don't know. I wasn't at your grandparents' house. I just remember you walking up and I saw you coming up the driveway or wherever we were, and it was like 2 p.m.
You're like,
and I had
I know what
known,
that
I
look
know what
is.
that looks like. And then you walked in, you're like, I got laid off. And I said, can we move to California now? Oh, I was like, yay, we get to move back
and
to
the
California
lease on our
now.
apartment was up. Like we had 2 6-month stints at 2 different jobs, and it was exactly 12 months. And I'm like, the lease is up on our apartment.
We get to move to San Diego now.
We're
I mean,
gonna
that
move
was
to
like
San Diego
you're
now.
probably preparing yourself for the worst news and your wife freaking out that you got laid off. And I'm like, yay.
Yeah, she was excited about it
I
actually.
was excited. Okay, so that was Mission Impossible 2. Mission Impossible 3 is the first Mission Impossible in which Simon Pegg arrives to be the comedy relief for a very intense set of films.
2002.
2006. So we actually leap 6 years in the Heilman chronology of lifedom. So 2006, Madeline would have been born. This is why you're
2 end up.
yeah.
So
she
would have been 3.5.
she was. See, you are
What was the date for that one, do you
steel
know?
trap. I'm assuming it's gonna be May, but Andrew,
May 5th.
May 5th.
May 5th.
Your brain is like a steel trap. You can remember everything. My brain, more often than not, is Vinny brain. I've got doodle brain. I have nothing on my mind. And then sometimes it's like the switch goes on and I've got smart things to say.
That's what we do here at the Jeff Heilman podcast. We have steel trap brain and mush brain.
Exactly.
And the two together.
Doodle brain. Doodle brain.
Doodle brain.
We have a
They work.
doodle. He's cute. Throw
You
up
have
a
to show the
picture. I know.
that you
Throw a
took.
picture of our cutest
of our doodle.
child,
No.
the dog. But with my doodle brain, I have no memory of any. I think it's God's grace on mothers to forget all of these things so that we can continue to have go into labor like excited. But 2006, our third child would have been 3.5. We would have. We were getting. No, Andrew. We would have had Jack because we got the dog.
Not yet. We got Jack later. Oh, we got him in 05. You're right. We'd actually, so we passed by San Diego. So we were in Dallas in 2000, went to San Diego in 2001, and then came back up here to Silicon Valley in 2003. So we would have moved twice. And by
06, were you at Perfego?
2000, oh man, so many jobs. Okay, so from 2000, I would have gotten, not when the movie came out, because right before the movie came out, I got fired from IPT Computerland in Portland. We moved to Dallas. And then I got fired in October of 2000 from onejobs.com, and I went to work for Gary over at Princeton Information Systems. And then Gary fired me in March of 2001, and we went to work for Radix One in San Diego. And then I got the job at the newspaper North County Times on January 1st of 2002, following September 11th, because we couldn't make any money doing that. And then I got a job at Coco's Bakery. And from there, I met the guy who would recruit me into
Credit card sales.
credit card
Collections.
sales after I went to work for Nordstrom. So I was fired from Nordstrom, fired from Coco's, fired from North County Times, fired from Radix One, fired from Princeton Information, fired from One Jobs, fired from IPT Computerland.
I hope you aren't taking shots every time Jeff says the word fired.
Yeah,
'cause
don't
you'll
take
be,
shots
You'll be
because you
laid
won't
out
be
on
able
the
to drive
floor.
home. That's exactly right. Nordstrom, and then what was the next? Oh, that's right, ARS National. That would have been from IPT. That was January 1st.
We totally skipped over credit card terminal sales.
That was, yeah.
That was just a whole other
That I'd rather not
parallel
talk about
lifeline.
So IPT Computer. So from January 1st, 2000, which was my first job in tech at IPT. Well, after Elon, we weren't really in tech with Elon and Kimball. To ARS National would have been July of 2003. So in 2.5 years, I got fired from IPT, One Jobs, Princeton, Radix, North County Times, Coco's, Nordstrom, and ARS National. I actually left of my own free will.
What year did we get the word to move from San Diego up
2003.
to?
Yeah, that was in 2003.
Okay, so then by 06, you were working at
So,
Cisco.
Yeah, but I had gone to work for Perfego and then Cisco, and then I started the Nat Glaskin pipeline campaign in channels. So I stopped getting fired and started getting promoted.
Yeah.
In 2003 at Perfego at the end of the year.
Well, the last movie and the last of this podcast that we're going to talk about is the first movie where they actually start having names, and I arguably would say begin to be the really good the golden era of Mission Impossible with Ghost Protocol. And that one
What year
was
was it?
released in 2011.
Ghost Protocol.
So where were we in May of 2011?
May of 2011, we would have made it to Willow Glen, and I would have been in my second year at Tagile as a co-founder. But right before I left, that was when they brought another VP of sales in to replace me, who I never had the VP of sales title. I always had the inside sales.
So how many
lead
years
title.
has it been? My doodle brain isn't doing the math between 96 and 2011. How
That's
many
5
years?
years. So
That's
it's four,
only 5 years.
so it's 4 years in between the first one. 6 years.
Are you bleeping kidding me that you went from scrubbing toilets to being a co-founder of a company?
I wasn't even scrubbing toilets when the first Mission Impossible came out. I hadn't started scrubbing.
I know.
I was selling auto
You were
parts.
in debt to Eddie Bauer for a belt.
I was selling auto parts.
Selling auto parts.
I wasn't even qualified to sell auto parts yet. I think May, I was still working. I was an inside sales rep doing custom cabling and barcode scanners for ECR sales management with Toby. ECR sales
Yeah,
management.
because literally when we met, you had no job at
I
all.
just lost my job at...
You were leasing apartments for a while. I don't know if that was at that point.
I think, I got fired from leasing apartments too. That was really fast. That happened super
Because
fast.
I just remember because the girl that you were friends with and we got to see her later. Forget her name.
Oh, Dana Howell.
Yeah, Dana. That's right.
Dana was from Elon and Kimball, though. So I left in February of 1996, and I met you in March. So it would have been, I don't think I'd had a job. Wait, did I get an apartment? I think I got a job leasing apartments and then got fired like in 2 weeks.
Yeah, you told me that.
It
I
was
seem to
really
remember that.
fast.
So wait, in a 5-year time span by 96 Mission
I don't
Impossible
do
1
what I'm told, folks.
and 2011,
Don't.
we now have how many children by
By
2011?
2011, I think we only had
4?
5. No, we had 5.
Okay, oh my god.
Because
We had-
Osh was around.
I'm sorry, my brain is still... No, it's not. It's not 5 years. It's 2011, not 2001.
Sorry, 5 years for what?
From 96 to 2011.
Oh, 96 to 2011 is
I was going to say, that's not 5 years.
it's 15 years.
Okay. Phew. All right. Now my brain is grasping
By the way, Andrew,
things.
when did 2011 come out? May. He'll be working on
Ghost
that one.
Protocol came out in October.
Oh.
October.
Ooh, they're
Okay.
slacker.
A winter movie. Slackers.
So, okay.
Just
so
couldn't get it out, could you, Tom?
in 15 years, that sounds a lot more chewable. 15 years, we had 5 children from
Yep.
not even being married yet when the first movie came out.
Yep.
We had 5 children. You had a plethora of
I've been
jobs.
fired about maybe a dozen times.
How many times would we have moved in that 15-year time span?
I moved in with your parents. Then I moved to South Shore. Then we moved to Kingsgate. Then we moved to Tualatin. Then we moved to my mom's house. Then we moved to the apartment on Royal. Then we moved to Cordray. Then we moved to the apartment on Hale. Then we moved with your parents on Randy. Then we moved to Olivewood.
Wait.
Then we moved, hold on, I'm keeping track. Olivewood. Then we moved to Ava's house. Then we moved to Sunflower. Then we moved to 915. So we would have moved 1,
13
2,
times.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, we moved 13
So
times.
we moved 13 times
13
in 15
times in 15
years.
years. We had about 12 cars.
Lots of jobs.
Oh, you want to talk cars?
5
Cars will be
kids.
fun.
Okay.
Let's talk cars from that time,
we have a captive
1996.
audience if they're still listening.
Yeah. We had the, should we go by the names? Little Red Pig car. Innie the Audi. We had the black Ford F-150 pickup truck. We had Vanilla Gorilla, the Barrett's Cadillac. What do we have after the Barrett's Cadillac? Oh, my parents gave us the Sunbird. Then they gave us, and that
Which
blew
we
up.
called the Sunbeak.
Sunbeak, because it wasn't very big. And then we went, Sunbird blew up. And then they gave us the van, and the van blew up. And then we bought the blue Volvo, and that blew up. And then we bought the red Volvo, and we traded.
No. The white BMW, and then the red Volvo.
The white BMW. Yeah, and that blew up. Then we traded that to your dad to have that fixed for Angelique.
Did we count the Explorer? Was the Exploder in there somewhere?
Explorer hasn't
Good
happened
deal,
yet.
Lucille.
Explorer hasn't happened until we got to San Jose because we drove that up. We weren't in San Jose
The
yet.
Explorer was when we were in Portland because we killed it going over the pass.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
That was after we crashed Indy the Audi.
Okay, so Explorer, Honda, Indy the Audi, F-150, Vanilla Gorilla, Sunbird,
I'm just glad
van,
I've had the same
Volvo,
car for 5 years.
Beamer,
Makes you kind
other
of grateful.
Volvo, other Volvo.
And it still starts.
And then we got the Excursion,
Oh, yeah.
and then the first black Benz. Then we got the second black Benz. Then we got the CRV. Then we got the V8 Sequoia. The GMC that got repoed. The big Beamer that got repoed. The little Beamer that blew up. The other black Benz. The silver Benz. The gold GMC. The Cadillac blue. Your Jeep.
And the Bug.
And the Bug.
And the HHR now.
And the HHR. So we've had, wow. We have derailed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
We have
7, 8,
personally
9,
kept
10, 11,
cars
12,
for
13,
kids.
14,
You're
15,
welcome.
16, 17, 18, 19,
And
20,
we actually have
21,
two more
22,
for
23,
you.
24, 25.
When you're ready.
We are on our 25th car since we got married 30 years ago.
Okay. So
The good news is most of the cars we're driving now actually start when it's cold outside.
So 15 years, 15,
Yeah. Holy moly.
12 places we've lived.
Jesus,
So
how did we even survive?
we've learned a thing or two about this fight or flight experience. So this is why we can easily recommend a film like Mission Impossible and say that you should
basically
go
our
see the most recent one, because if it got us excited, then
Yeah.
it's really good.
We live in excitement. We live in the seat, the catbird seat of excitement.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
It
Okay,
really
and
puts
we've
it-
had then in the last 14 years, we've had another 4.
There are 4 more movies.
Wow,
for our
which we'll be
next
tuning in
episode
next
that we're
week.
going to be talking about.
Where
So
we're at
keep in touch.
time-wise.
Meet us.
Where are we at for time?
What are we at, Andrew? Lengthwise? Hey, we're at 40 minutes.
40 minutes,
It took us
okay.
40 minutes to cover 15 years
15
of Jeff,
years
Jeff
of Mission
and Mr. and
Impossibles.
Mrs. Jeff and Jessica Heilman.
That's us. You heard
The
it here
only
first,
difference
folks.
is Tom Cruise got the studios and himself wealthier and wealthier and wealthier, and we just got more tired.
$4
But we're getting
billion.
excited now.
That's some serious
I
coin.
still believe that we are that bamboo plant that once you wait for it and wait for it to grow, and it doesn't grow, and then it grows 80 feet in
Yeah.
a period of a few
I'm
weeks.
still waiting for the 80 feet.
Yeah, we're growing. We're growing right now.
Yep. See, I'm standing here growing.
Anyways, thank you for tuning in, everybody. Thank you for listening. We hope that this has been entertaining for you. What have you been up to in the last Mission Impossible, 8 Mission Impossibles? Have you seen the movie? Did you like it? Write in the
Like and
comments.
subscribe.
Let us know
Let us know
how
what you're doing.
what you feel about it. If you love it or if you don't. Have an awesome rest of your week. We'll see you next time on the Jeff Heilman Project.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Cheers.